There's been numerous situations where risk has been quite prominent within the role that I play as artistic director. And I guess one of the biggest risks we have is in terms of commissioning the right work for a company like Phoenix Dance Theatre. And the challenges that I do face are talking to choreographers that perhaps are wanting to experiment and take risks themselves with a company like Phoenix that has many years of engaging with an audience and encouraging audiences to try something new, try something different, but then really wanting to push their ideas beyond where I feel Phoenix are allowed to go or will position themselves. So those conversations can be quite challenging, but I also know that those conversations are absolutely essential in terms of opening up ideas and putting ourselves out there to engage in a slightly different way than what we're used to being seen. Risk, and it comes in many shapes and forms, just sometimes with subject matters, relationships. Finance is not necessarily one of the things that is prominent when we're looking at this situation, so it really is about the creativity of the individual and how they want to put that on a company like Phoenix. It's important for Phoenix Dance Theatre to take risk. I think there are extremes and certainly there are rewards. If you don't take risk, I think you're putting yourselves in a position to be forgotten. You risk not bringing on new and different. And also I think it's you don't present yourself with the opportunity to actually be different. So yes, it's important that we are seen to be taking risk. I wouldn't say that we're necessarily known solely for that purpose, but on occasions, because we're so broad in terms of the offer we make, we can embed risk within a whole evening of work that we do. We can embed risk within the studio activity. We can embed risk within the research, and then it's presented in numerous ways. So absolutely, it's important that risk is featured within what we do, but it's not necessarily at the main height of our activity. The economic situation is a big risk for everyone, especially within the cultural sector, and I'm kind of broadening that out because you have to be seen to be taking risks again to introduce something that's new and different. And I think that cautious approach can almost land you in a risky position. So, and that by being in a risky position, you potentially can be excluded. I think it's those that are cautious can sometimes find themselves disappearing. And risk is one of those things where it has a positive and a negative. If you don't really enter that territory, then that cautious approach, I don't know how much value it has. I think location is an interesting place when we're looking at risk, and being based in Leeds, it potentially gives us the opportunity to be more courageous with the kind of risk-taking. We're not compared to the saturated dance sector within London, so people are looking north to see what's different, and I guess it does kind of give us the backbone to embed something perhaps that can be failure, and how we embrace risk in terms of failure is something that isn't always talked about, but I think it is something that we put on the table quite often. What's nice is that risk can sometimes be a positive, a very, very positive place and activity for us to engage with. And not necessarily being isolated, but looking down south, it just gives us that chance again to see what's different, to see what's new. So yeah, it can be worth being in the north of England in the way that we are, and potentially considered isolated because risk perhaps is taken in a very different way. An example, I think, of something that's become very clear about how we calculate risk. Phoenix has been running for 33 years, and in that time it's had many guises through different directors. There's a period of time when Phoenix has been dark, and as a result of that, it was through other people, directors taking risk with the company. And it's really unfortunate, but within 2 years, the company went dark from that risk. Now, for me, there's something about not really measuring that risk and the impact of what decisions were made. We were very fortunate in that clearly I'm here as artistic director of Phoenix, and therefore knowing that the company was well worthy of investment and future contribution. So, but at the time, we could have lost the company some time ago, and it was a decision that was made, and I'm not sure whether that was about individuals thinking personally, but not necessarily about the bigger picture of the organisation and the fact that actually it's a company that really serves its purpose beyond any one individual. So making that decision about how the company moves on, I do feel was potentially considered a very negative approach to risk-taking. As artistic director, it's an interesting position to be in because I don't shoulder all the risk myself. I guess I try to share that risk-taking with other members of the organisation, but I have to keep my eye on it very closely, because if I've encouraged that, then I need to know that I can support it wherever it's going and the direction in which it's going in. But I do feel that giving individuals the breadth and the scope to take risk builds their confidence, and for me that confidence building just enables the company to stand with broader shoulders. And very often when we talk about risk, it can be perceived as negative, but I think the outcomes of that is that confidence building that allows you to see the other side of it, the positive side of growth. And we're very small as an organisation, therefore each individual has to really carry their own and carry their weight in making sure that we continue to grow. And I carry a lot of that with me, whether it's visible or whether I'm just kind of pressing an open door on situations. It really is about embracing and enabling, and that is with a level of risk-taking.